All right, now bringing you a CNN News 18 mega exclusive on this Goa nightclub tragedy. Documents reveal that repeated warnings over illegal construction and safety violations at a club in Goa were ignored for the past 2 years, which finally culminated in this tragic accident. The club was built in a restricted area on land officially designated as salt pan and agricultural wetland where commercial construction is strictly prohibited. So we're learning more about the illegal nature of this club. Also, despite this, the property had a club, restaurant, RCCG plus one building, water platform, decks and shops, all operating without any license or any sort of clearance. This is what we're learning right now also. So this was just from what we are learning right now, a disaster waiting to happen. For more on this, we have with us Simran. Simran, thank you so much for joining us. Now, the more we learn about this, the more we understand that this was truly just a recipe for a disaster waiting to happen.
Very rightly said. In fact, the documents that we have accessed in this regard go on to show now the repeated warnings that were time and again being ignored. And not just in fact to this very property, but the entire land that was encroached, that was illegally being operated. And if we speak of these documents one by one, starting by the demolition notice that was sent by the under section 66 of the Goa Panchayat, where it was mentioned that on the complaint that was lodged by the whistleblower Pradeep Ghadi Amonkar, and this demolition notice that has been sent here. And while we speak of the inspection notice that was also sent to this very property at the Arpora Road, which was also in fact having the names of both the Luthra brothers. The demolition notice that I have right now mentions clearly that it was issued on the 20th of the April last year. It also had attached the notices of the site inspection notice that was on the complaint of the illegal construction. So if we understand both of these in context, first, in fact, the demolition notice was put up on the basis of how exactly the warnings that have been repeatedly sent were time and again ignored. And it has mentioned the times where the checks were being regulated. It was being sent also time and again on the procedural basis to the property owners. Later on, the site inspection notice that we have next, and I would also like to show it to my viewers while we speak of this site inspection notice. It goes on to also mention that the Panchayat copy is also mentioned here, where the Goa Panchayat Raj Act 1994 of the Act 14 mentions that the site inspection notice was issued under this letter simultaneously was carried out on the 17th of January 2024. Last year, it was found out that you have carried out unauthorized construction of the shop, not just the nightclub, but restaurants, 6 number of structures, all of this being operated on the CRZ zone without any proper license. And not just of that, it also had 2 numbers of platform in the alleged salt pan located at this very plot of the village Arpora. Now, to begin with, how exactly this nexus was being operated, was being flouted. It was happening under the guise of these officials of the Goa, in fact, MCD as well, where the village Arpora situated in the Bardes, they had also flouted this for a long time. The legal battle from the actual owner, where he had bought this land and sent to Mr. Khosla, is also named in these copies that we have with us on our screens. And through that, in fact, we understand that time and again these repeated warnings were flouted. And all of these owners, along with the partners as well, are named in these complaints. And these complaints only go on to show the extent till which all of the warnings that were sent by the Goa Panchayat, by the site inspection officials as well, were ignored one after the other.
Absolutely, Simran. Of course, based on the response of the club owners, also the Mr. Gupta, who has now been detained, of course, their response to this has left much to be desired. They don't seem to care much about what has gone on, let alone caring about making sure that all permissions, all clearances were in place. That being said, what you are saying that this was a CRZ restricted area and on land officially designated as a salt pan agricultural wetland, where commercial construction, we all know, is strictly prohibited. That being said, do you think this points to further systemic issues and lapses also?
Absolutely, Hem. As you have rightly pointed out that there were times when there was also enough time given for a reply to be filed and to be sent in this matter, where if we see the document with me right now, it can be understood that it has been mentioned that you have failed to produce any documentary evidence whatsoever in the 15-day time that had been given to you, and proving the legality of the said unauthorized construction of these shops, these restaurants, and the number of structures, which were 6 in total, with the platforms in the alleged salt pan that was located in the same village. And this is the demolition notice that I would also like to show to my viewers for another time, where we see that the site inspection notice had the previous copies as well of the Goa Panchayat order attached with it, where all the persons, including the owners, the partners, the directors, the occupiers of the alleged illegal land which was operating on the unauthorized part and the construction was carrying out, were summoned, and they were also given enough time to be filing a reply, but they have failed that. And following that, they continue to carry out the constructions, not just in that alleged site, but also in the nearby plots which were not taking any kind of prior clearances or any kind of mandates. The site inspection notice also dates back to the last month, or the first month of 2024, where the construction has also been cited out to remain present despite the sending of all the legal notices, as we can see.
Right. Well, of course, Simran, thank you so much for showing us that notice also, and thank you so much for bringing us all the details and what it reads like. Now, in more information that we're getting right now, Goa police have arrested